Hello, everyone. Today is Friday, October, my goodness, November 6th, 2020. My name is Angela Hooper-Menifield, and this is your HR moment from Menifield and Associates. And so, as many of you know who watch us with any regularity, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we like to come to Facebook, talk a little bit about human resources, because we have two core objectives. We want to first help those who just have questions about things that maybe their HR department does not address or they don't feel comfortable asking at work, but also be a great resource for supervisors and managers. At our Supervisor Academy and Symposium, one of the things that we offer is a lot of training products for supervisors. And so as such, we like to use our HR moment to really speak to that. Now, today's HR moment, we decided we wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between collaboration and cooperation. Now, part of the reason for today's topic is I had the pleasure and privilege today to actually do a collaboration workshop with one of the nonprofits here in Newark, New Jersey, the Newark Emergency Services for Family, and their illustrious leader, Amina Bey, does an awesome job leading this team, but she's also very diligent about understanding the need to not only grow herself and grow her team. And so as a supervisor and leader, I would just say kudos to those efforts. But one of the things that she understands is the fact that her team has to collaborate. And collaboration is about more than just what they do with each other. Collaboration is also about how they work with other entities. And so today was all about, again, understanding what collaboration is and how to operate in that vein. And so in the midst of today's training, the conversation came up about collaboration or cooperation. What are the differences? And so I just like to talk about that just a little bit. Because so often people will say, oh, I'm a great collaborator. But then when we dig a little deeper, they really don't have an accurate understanding about what collaboration is. And so there is actually a difference between being collaborative and being cooperative. And so let's talk a little bit about the definitions, the basic conversation. When we talk about cooperation, we'll start there first. Cooperation could be something as simple as giving a hand, helping work on something that yet I'm not totally responsible for it. So in other words, I cooperate, I support, I do what I can. Cooperate is working with other people, achieving our own goals, right? So let's cooperate. Collaboration, on the other hand, is really about a shared interest and ownership in the specific outcome. So if I were to collaborate with you, that would also mean that you and I both have a mutual invested interest in this. Collaboration also speaks to the fact that you and I were brought into this at the same time. And so some examples that I've given before, I think can kind of help, because there are times that, let's say at work, we're working on a project and it's clear to me that I need budget numbers from your department. And so I reach out to your team and I say, hey, can we get those numbers? You cooperate, you give me the numbers. Or let's say I'm working on something and then I bring you an update. And I need your approval, or I ask you to review something. So oftentimes somebody will draft something and send it out to all the team members and say, hey, could you guys look this over and give me your feedback? And then later on, they'll say, well, I collaborated with everyone. No, you didn't. They cooperated, they reviewed, but they didn't collaborate. So again, when we say collaboration, what we're really talking about is from the very beginning, these individuals would have had input into the product that ultimately was sent out to everybody. And again, all projects don't need collaboration. So I'm not suggesting that any of us did anything wrong if we operated in a space of cooperate versus collaborate. But what I am trying to get across to us is that there's a difference, and we should be clear on which ones we're doing, especially in occasions where people will say, "Well, I asked you for your input," and then you seem to be offended that I'm not all bought in. It's because I wasn't a collaborative partner. And so now that we've talked about both of these, and again, I shared, I actually did a team collaboration training today. What are some of the benefits for us to do collaboration and cooperation? Well, one of them is that it keeps us from being individualistic, and it helps us really work together. Group work helps people also improve on their social skills, emotional intelligence. It provides an opportunity for people to engage and to be interactive. And so there are tons of benefits between in collaborating. Collaborating also suggests that I got buy-in. Because again, if I've been involved since step one and going on this journey with you from beginning to end, there should be no surprises, and you should be very clear on the fact that I am bought in, I'm giving my input, I'm invested, and again, I am taking ownership over what it is we're working over. It gives us an opportunity to hear different perspectives, again, because a collaboration means that, again, we all have an invested interest. Hey, Linda, how are you? Good to see you. It's been a minute. And congratulations on defending your dissertation. I'm really happy for you. So when we talk about, again, collaboration, what we're also saying is, again, we're invested. So nobody should be blindsided. There shouldn't be hidden agendas. We're all bought in. And again, I'm taking ownership. So ownership means I take ownership on the positive as well as, a potential less than positive outcome, because we're all in it together. So examples of how we collaborate could include a few things. It could be just simply brainstorming, as in if we're trying to come up with a new suggestion, a new way to do things, new ideas, we bring everybody in together and then we brainstorm. So recently I'm a part of a collective that we were told this is something that's happening at the organizational level, and if we had suggestions, tell it to a representative, and then the representative would vet them and then decide which ones made it up to the top. Now think about that for a minute. I just laughed. I was like, okay, so in other words, if this person thinks my ideal is good enough, they'll filter it up. But if they don't, it won't be seen. That didn't sound very collaborative to me, but that would be an example of that. So collaboration also is a big part of teamwork. Again, so many people, we hear phrases like there is no I in team. Today, one of my participants in my training reminded me what Michael Jordan said is, yeah, but there's an I in win, right? And so we had a good laugh, and, but also it was a great opportunity for us to discuss the fact that there will be times, and typically these are times of crisis, times of urgent decision making. So we really don't have time to collaborate. And how I interpret it, and I could be wrong, what Michael was saying in that moment was, it's the end of the game. There are 2 seconds left. We ain't got time to get a consensus on who's taking the last shot. If I have a shot, I have the ball, I'm taking it, right? And in crisis mode or in, urgency, short times and things like that, there will be times that people will have to step up. And so there are some effective principles, though, to collaborate. Today, we talked about noble intent as one of them, which is a part of trusting people, right? Like, it's hard to collaborate with people you really don't trust. Because again, how can you have shared ownership, shared accountability, shared interest. And so when we collaborate, trust is important. There also has to be respect. I have to respect you, but I also have to respect what you're bringing to the table, right? Because again, we're talking about collaboration. And if I'm going to give my all and your all is of equal measure or equal significance, that means must have a mutual respect that you bring as much to the table as I do, in essence. We have to have willingness, because you can't force people to collaborate with you. People will begrudgingly be drug along on an initiative, but that's not collaboration. That's basically, okay, compliance. And, my objective as a supervisor has always been, cooperation, but I'll take compliance, but I want cooperation and agreement. And then, of course, empowerment. When we empower people to bring their strengths to the table, to do their role, of course, they need to be equipped, then we can effectively collaborate. And then last but not least, effective communication. Today we played some fun games, had a great time. And there was a point in one of our exercises where one of the participants, I could tell, had shut down. And so when we diagnosed, what had happened, observations, it was just really clear that because they didn't feel heard, they shut down. Well, two things were happening. One, they weren't heard, so their assessment was really true. But the second thing is, how do people respond when they don't feel valued or heard? Many times they shut down, to the point that it doesn't just impact today's activities, it impacts activities in the future. So think about ways that you can better collaborate. And I'll leave you with this, that perspective is really important in collaboration, because I think we have to be able to see the lens of others. Now, this is important in a lot of things, and I talk a lot about perspective. I've done a lot of training in that. Of course, I've been a mediator, negotiated settlements and things like that. But just being empathetic and experiencing things from another person's perspective is really beneficial in collaboration, because again, it's understanding that everybody doesn't perceive everything the same way. You're right doesn't mean I'm wrong, and vice versa. It just means we see things differently. And the most effective teams are diverse in perspective as well, right? Because we can talk about diversity all day long, but again, there are visible diversity qualities and invisible ones. And perspective is one of those invisible qualities. And so to effectively collaborate and to have a thriving, successful team, you need diversity of perspective. So thank you guys for watching. Again, my name is Angela Hooper-Menifield of Menifield and Associates, and it's been my pleasure to share a little bit in our HR moment today. Hopefully it's been beneficial. Maybe you learned a little bit about when you're collaborating and when you're not, and you walk away with a desire and initiative to get better at both collaboration and cooperation. Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.